So today I just want to show you different works that I made with papers, all kinds of papers that I used, and I will show you how we can transform the paper in something else, and it can be useful, and there are so many ways of recycling different kinds of paper. I'm absolutely passionate about paper, first because it can be very sturdy once glued, also because it can be also very light and elegant and airy, and in the same time it's always a surprise because we never know in advance how it's going to react. So I think you remember that I made a video about how doing these balls, which were made with some tissue papers, this. So of course I didn't make them very sturdy and thick, but you can go thicker by adding more layers in them. So it can be really much harder than that. This one is a little harder, probably I made it thicker. Yesterday I tried to use the tea bags, so you know the paper from the tea bags, like this, that I kept and I'm keeping every time I drink a tea. I keep it, I clean it of course, and I glued it like that on a balloon. If you want to know how to do that, I will put in the description box the link to the video where I create balls on balloons. You will see it's very easy. So what I see is that the tea bags are more fragile than the tissue paper. Here I put, I think, 4 or 5 layers of tea bags. I had many, and it's not sturdy enough. So I will probably continue with tea bags or maybe with tissue paper if I see that there is no way to make it sturdier. But you know, for a party you can put candies in that, you can put some food which is packed so it doesn't make the thing dirty, but it's so cute, and see how light it is. It's very light. I love the fact that there are different hues of brown according to the tea bags I used. I must fix the edge because the edge is not perfect, but beside that, oh, there is something here, probably some tea here. But that is amazing. I'm not done with the tea bags. I'm sure that there are many ways of using them. By the way, talking about tea bags, I glued, I think, 5 or 6 layers together, and see how, oh, I completely damaged my varnish. See how thick and hard it became. The only thing is that I hang it like that to dry, and we see the trace of the, I don't know, the clasp, I don't know how we call that. It's almost sturdier than a page, so you can do pages like that and create a small notebook, or you can sew them together and create pockets, or I don't know, there are so many ways you can use that. So this, I think that I glued some wax paper together with some ink in between. So of course it doesn't glue really well because the wax paper is not made to be glued, but I cut it in the shape of heart, and still I don't know, I was thinking of doing jewelry, you know, earrings with things like that, smaller of course, because that would be a little big for an earring, but that's so interesting. So this one, oh, it's something else. This one is the rice paper. So you find them like that. It's to make calligraphy, you know. You find that it's Chinese in any art and craft store. And I glued little pieces together. The first piece was round. I cut it round. And then I glued small pieces. And look how thick and hard the rice paper is becoming. It's unbelievable. I can't believe what I managed to do with that. And I put maybe, I don't know, same thing, 4, 5 layers, maybe 6 layers. But it's incredible how hard it is. So then I have this. So I will give you the link to a video made by Jennibellie about how to recycle some used paper towels. You know, things like that you have in your kitchen. I use that when I paint, you know, to remove some paint or to clean my hands, or sometimes I put the brush on it to remove an excess of paint, or you know, there are so many ways you can use that in your work as a tool to clean. But I keep them then, and I glue different layers, or I fold them in 4. I'm not going to show you how to do that because Jennibellie made a video about that already, and it's perfect, and I have nothing to add except that I want to find other way to use that material. So these two ones are made like Jennibellie did, except that it's oil paint on it. I wanted to see if with oil paint it was going to glue, and it does. It glues in spite of the fact that the paint is oil based. But I think that the paint is not as vibrant as when it's acrylic. It's a little dull. So you can use them if you paint with oil, but you will have much better results if you use some acrylic paint on them. So for example, this, you see, acrylic paint. Look at that. It looks almost like flowers. That is obviously some gesso. Look how beautiful it is when your paint is kind of iridescent, it's like a rose gold, you know. Look at this one. Look at that. Oh, this one needs to be maybe fixed a little because it has a weird shape. Look at that. I think it was probably the same part as this one. Oh, some gold here. The gold and silver looks really great on it. I think that it's Martha Stewart paint, yes, that I used. I have one gold and one silver. It's probably that I was using. It's actually made to paint furniture, but I use it for anything. Oh, this one I glued it, but there is not much paint on it. It's only here, it's mostly white. Oh, I probably dried some stencils and it appears on the paper. So basically you have 4 layers of paper towel here, glued together. If you want me to make a video about that, tell me in the comment below and I will do it. But if you check Jennibellie's video, really I don't think that you need more information. Look at this. Oh, that is gorgeous. Wow, this one is very busy. A lot of pins. It looks like a stamp almost, this one. Sometimes, you know, there is some glue and I don't manage to put them flat, but never mind, it doesn't matter. I try to put them flat as much as possible. Oh, here we see the pattern of the paper towel. But you see how sturdy it is, and it's really glued together. When you remove all the air bubbles, you have something really sturdy. So here I tried to make them bigger, so I think that there is only 2 layers here. So you see it's not as hard, but it's nice too. I like it's slightly transparent. That is really nice. And this one, I think I put 2 layers together. I wanted to see if I was managing to do it bigger, so you can, but it's less sturdy. But it's nice, it's really nice. You can use it as a cover for a journal, you fold it in 2, and There are so many ways of using that, you know. You can sew them, you can glue them, you can, I don't know, so many ways. So here it's just an example. It was, you know, my printer printing a test, and I thought what I'm going to do with that. And I tried a stencil with the sprayed paint, and the gold, it's not sprayed, it's just regular paint. And I found that so beautiful. You can glue it as a background in your journal or whatever, you know. Look at that. So that is a paper bag, and I drew on it. Probably I was on phone and talking, and I did that. And then I thought, that's such a good way to recycle a paper bag, personalize a paper bag. Of course, you can't do thousands of them unless you do that during several days. But you know, when you give a little present, for example, or candies to someone, it's a good way. Que penser de ce Benoît? Que penser de Benoît Hamon? Benoît Hamon is a politician in France who resigned from the government a while ago. So I was a little surprised by the fact that he resigned, because it was showing a kind of honesty. Even though I didn't agree with him politically, I admire what he did, and I was probably talking about that on phone, or I don't know, and I was doing the drawing. Yeah, it was in 2014, you see. So yeah, more than 2 years ago. I used some glitter marker, that's why it's so shiny, and some silver also. But I really love this thing. So here it's something else. I hope you don't have the glare. No, I think you manage to see, because I put them in a plastic. Maybe I will remove them. Oh, okay. Maybe it's better like that. So this thing, that is cardboard, and the cardboards are there, things like that. And you know where I find them? I find them in boxes of cat food, in cans, you know, cans like Fancy Feast, or yes, it's in Fancy Feast by Purina. And I keep them every time because I think I can recycle them, and I recycled them like that. So what did I do? I glued some newspaper in the background. Actually, I think it was the Yellow Pages or something like that. Then I painted above that. Then I printed a picture of my face that I cut, and I drew on some watercolor paper a dress, legs and arms that I glued, and I included my face in the thing. And I say, what am I doing in this Claudine Elmuth environment? Why Claudine Elmuth? It's because it's the kind of design that she does. And by doing it, I thought, wow, it looks like something that Claudine Elmuth would do. So that's why I wrote that, especially that I don't wear this kind of dresses usually. I made a cat here, who is actually not my cat, but I thought it was funny. I must just finish the bag, because if I want to sell a piece like that, considered as a piece of art that you can frame, you can't sell it with something like that at the back. It must at least be clean, maybe signed with a name, something, so it looks finished. And I like to put them in a cellophane pocket because it protects them. Same thing for this one. Not the same dress, but the principle is the same, except that I didn't finish it yet. So when you put your paint on the background made with newspaper, you must use a diluted paint, like you mix it with a little water, so we can still see the newspaper in the background, of course. Or you can use some inks also. It would probably do it. I don't know what are these outfits. I don't have outfits like that. I just have boots when I do my gardening, which look a little like these ones, but beside that, No, it's not my way of being dressed. So it's the same cardboard, except that I painted and did some stencils on them to create backgrounds. Oh, this is actually not a stencil, it's a plastic canvas to make you know, cross stitch or embroideries, and I used it like a stencil, and it's actually very interesting. Sometimes you have objects that are not meant to be stencils, but you can use them as stencils. Always have an eye on tools, things. Oh no, that is on it. Here, what was, oh, I know. This is not a stencil either, it's a material to put under rugs so it doesn't slide on the floor, and I use it as a stencil, and that is a stencil. Same thing here, and I must continue on those one, but I have so many because now I have 3 cats in my home. You can't imagine how many boxes I use. And I want also to show you this. So this is not my invention either. Again, we go back to Jennibellie. She shows how to create journal covers with recycled box, like for example cereal boxes. That is a cereal box that I used to create a cover. So I didn't put the signatures, the paper inside yet, but my cover is basically done. There is just one problem here where it folds, but probably once the signature will be there, we won't see it really much anymore. This is some paper towel with flowers on them. I like them, that's why I glued them. That was Isabelle de Bourgegrave tablecloth in paper that I kept, and I used it to glue it. This was an image I found in a newspaper. Same thing, Isabelle de Bourgegrave. That is some packaging by Shabby Chic Treasures, Rachel Ashwell. Newspaper or a page of a book probably. That is an Indian paper that I love a lot. You know, same thing, wrapping paper. You know, there are so many ways. And here it's covered with newspaper, and then I painted in purple like that, and then with some very pale pink and stencils here, just on the raised pattern, I would say. You put the pink very dry and it gives that. You see, same thing on the other side. So it's waiting for its pages. I have this other one. I like it a lot because it makes me think a little like leather. Let's just remove the few white stains, but it makes me think of leather. Same thing. It's some newspaper, but I painted in brown, different kinds of brown, because I wanted a leather effect. And inside, this was print that I made myself on the paper with stamps. Yes, it's stamps that I made myself in foam. Same thing here, it's a stamp that I made myself. You know, you use some foam, all kinds of foam, and you can create your own stamps. And behind, oh yeah, I used as a stencil, it's some lace that I have. There are so many ways, you know. So I just didn't glue anything here, otherwise it was not folding. But I will have to put the signature and then figure out what we can see and what we cannot see. And then I will probably rectify, because it's not very beautiful like that. And I already made the pages for that. These are the pages that I'm going to use inside. The pages are almost a little too tall for that, but it's okay, it fits. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures And you know, I cut them by hand with scissors. I didn't have something to cut them straight yet. So, and these are Trader Joe's bags. So it's also recycled paper. So it's waiting for me to do something on it. And same thing with that. This one, I don't remember what box it was, but this one, I think it was a couscous box originally that I used. And you see the original color was this orangey red, this very bright vermilion red, and I put some dry yellow on it. I absolutely love recycling paper, cardboards, and recreate objects that we can use. So I wrote a book a long time ago. The name was Nouvelle vie pour vos objets. It means a new life for your things. So you see, this is me, and this is my co-author, Pierre Delpech. The chair you see here, I painted it. And the mirror you see here, Jean-Pierre did it. It's dried flowers and covered with resin, originally on wood. The background on the book, I made it myself on the page. It was sold a very long time ago in France. You still can find it. I made that on Amazon Canada and Amazon France, Amazon.fr. I made that. Those two. All these are recycled things. Of course, it's a little dated because it's old now, but some things can be still used now. So you see this box? I'm going to show you. Here it is. Here is my box where I put actually all my paper treasures. You see, you recognize it? So it was a shoebox that I covered with paper napkins and images. You see, we can see the paper napkins here. And I suppose you recognize that. That was after a visit in London. Recycled too. It's you know the pockets where there is French fries at Starbucks. No, not at Starbucks, at McDonald's. Has been written in 1999 and I think it was released in 2000, so it is 16 years old. But you know, I don't do a lot of advertising because there are not many remaining. It's really an old book. Just to let you know that recycling, it's not something new for me. I've been doing that since maybe 20 years now, and even more, because as far as I can remember, I was already recycling bottles when I was a child, so recycling for me, it's a kind of craziness. It's my passion. And you know, when I managed to do something like that just with tea bags, the paper of the tea bags, I'm so excited. I created an object from trash. It's the idea of using trash and creating something which can be used. Of course, I must make it more sturdy because it's too fragile. But look at how delicate and elegant something like that is. As is this one. This one, I absolutely adore it. I adore it. I can't believe that we manage to do things like that. But here is some tissue paper that I kept from packaging, so it's a kind of recycled paper because it was already used, but that is really the trash. Here is really what we usually put in the trash, you know. So I love this idea of creating creative things and useful things from nothing. Look at that, how beautiful it is. And you know what I keep also? It's the coffee filters, once used of course, because you have the color of the coffee. So the color of the coffee doesn't appear always by the same way. For example, for this one, you see how it's lighter. These ones, I think they were already a little beige, so plus the coffee they became more brownish. I have more here. Yes, those ones. So the coffee filters are more sturdy than the tea bags, so that is also a possibility to consider. And here some tea bags remaining, so basically I use that to do that. I keep them every day, and then I look at my stash and I imagine what I'm going to do with that. So you see, I don't need much to be happy. Okay, I will make this one more sturdy and I will keep you posted on that. So consider all what you have in your house. Look at your trash. Go to your trash and create beautiful things. This was a very chilled out video. I just wanted to show you and give you ideas and maybe inspire you. I would be glad if I could inspire you. Of course, I will start really doing things in September, because right now I'm supposed to be on vacation, even though I'm working every day, but I'm trying to chill out a little. So that's why it's a little more relaxed, but still I'm here talking to you, showing you stuff and creating every day. See you soon. Bye bye, bye bye.